This is Nick with Mystic Mind Shrine, showcasing my Adignister Stun deck, or Towers Turbo 2021, is whatever you want to call it. Starting off with Achichi, 3 of, and then Picari, 3 of. Obviously, these are your best starters in the deck. Draw one of these, and you're pretty much good to go. 1 card Towers. This one is kind of low-key better, because what you do, if you suspect your opponent has an Ash, you can search the field spell with this one, and then sometimes you'll go into the link and they'll still Ash it, even though they knew you just added the spell, because people are just like, oh, well, that's the choke point. So this one lets you play, and the second, these both have second effects. This one can banish itself to destroy one of your cards when it gets attacked, so you can save yourself from taking damage. It does come up. It's niche, but it does come up. And then this one has a second effect, which is also really cool, where it can take any Adignister monster with a level and make it level 4, so you can go into the rank 4. I've done this with Danmari before. I've turned Danmari into a... so just don't forget you can turn any of them into a level 4 to make that play. And then the rest of the monster lineup is Bururu. Let's keep down here. Bururu, the wind one, it's like a Foolish Burial, and the second effect, when it's a tuner, so when it's used for Synchro Summon, you can bring back the other material, which will be this. They all have cool second effects. Doyan, this one's like your grind game card. You can keep looping this back from the grave and adding Contact, especially because it draws 3, and in one of my games the other day, I ended up resolving Contact 3 times in 3 turns and drawing 9 cards because of this. So this one's really good for your grind. I only play 1 of each of these, though, because you really don't want to draw into them. So that's it for the... well, there's one more Adignister monster, and that's Danmari, and this one is your negate. He can be a brick, but he's really good if you have him in graveyard. Foolish him with this guy, and he's like a hot red dragon archfiend negate. So any face-up card in the field comes in handy. And then for the hand traps, card that I hate, but you gotta play it because it's competitive. Card that I don't hate as much, but you probably should also play it because it's really good right now. This is really good for like Schism and Revolt. It hits all the dangerous traps of the format, and it takes them off the field if they're continuous and they activate on the activation, or the when they flip the trap. So that was really good. Then we got 3 Droll in the main deck. People are taking this out and putting it in the side, or just taking it out. I don't understand why you would do that, because the best decks of the format all search a lot. And it just hits a lot of rogue too, and I think the Droll is just a really, really great card to have in your hand. And the last hand trap we play is Triple Veiler. This is kind of a new addition. I really like it. Hitting the Diviner against Drytron is really good. Hitting Tri-Brigade monsters, hitting Verte when they try to Dragoon you. Really, really good for this format. No imprims because we're super budget here. And so total is 12 hand traps, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yep. So that's it for the hand trap lineup. On to the other, or the spells. Signet Mining, triple Imichu. These are your other starters in the deck, so the deck has 12 starters. This is one of the best starters. Even if you have to discard for it, this card just gets you any of them, and it's free, besides the discard. This one is not so free. This is your worst starter. This will burn you if you don't special the thing you reveal with it for 2,300, which is quite a lot, and it does come up, and it's annoying. And this, this is your only starter, you need to draw into some other combo pieces, or else your board won't be ideal. But it's still a starter, and it's still good. So to have 12 starters, so we have to max out on all of them. And then field spell package, I play 1 Terraforming, 1 Mystic Mine, 1, 2, 3 of this field spell. So Terraforming, a lot of people don't play it in this deck. I have no idea why you wouldn't want to play it, because this is the extender for the deck. That's the only extender you need. You really just want to see this card, and it will help you play through all kinds of disruption. And if your opponent ashes your infant, then having this could be extremely crucial. And then I play Mystic Mine just because it's a good card. It's Mystic Mine Shrine, man. We got to throw a Mystic Mine in here. it comes up to bait negates, or you can just sit on it until you amass enough resources to kill them, and then you just take it off the field with one of these. So that's the field spells. Then we got the archetype spells are 1 contact and 1 reborn. Contact is amazing. Draw 3. I can't understand why anyone would not want to draw 3 in this deck. It's like a searchable, graceful charity. When this resolves, you win the game like 90% of the time. And Idle Reborn, I only play 1 of these because I just wanted to have more room for hand traps and the floodgates that you're about to see. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing more copies of this. Sometimes I end up wanting it, but I find if you manage your resources carefully and just save this, you're usually pretty good. But I will say, when the new support comes out, they gave you another Monster Reborn, which is just a normal spell, but it's kind of better than this one because it's not restrictive. When that new spell comes out, I will drop probably 1 Effect Veiler, or maybe something else if the format's changed. But so that then when that new Reborn comes out, I'll be playing 1 of this and 1 of that, and then I think that's the perfect ratio you can ask for. And you can use them both in the same turn, though. So this deck is really crazy because your field spell is this massive extension piece, but you also have 2 searchable Monster Reborns, or you will have a second one. That's insane. I don't know any other deck that does that. So these are the floodgates. That's kind of the spice with this deck. We're playing it differently than most people. Well, most people were playing hand traps, and I'm still playing 12 hand traps, but I decided that, to put some floodgates in here because I think that's what this deck really needs going first against decks like Sky Strikers and Tri Brigade that can still break your board even if you have a towers. Called By is just really sacky. People forget this is the floodgate. Like, the negate effect from this, it lasts for like 2 turns. So Called By is a floodgate, and it's just really, really great card. You have to play it in any kind of deck that loses to hand traps. Defissure and Macro. So these do hurt this deck if you have them used against you. But when you set up towers plus 1 of these, you're just going to win. And you are really solidified. I don't think it's win more because there's a lot of decks that can just kill just your towers. It's happened to me plenty of times, so I think you need greedy cards like this. And then Skill Drain, again, Skill Drain plus towers. Obviously the towers is unaffected, you can still pop stuff, but your opponent can't do anything. And then the other cool interaction is Linguriboh can actually still work under Skill Drain, and Quantum Dragon can still bounce cards under Skill Drain. So this deck kind of has some synergy with this card as long as you set up your full combo. It's so good once you do that. And then Imperial Order, main decking this because of Drytrons, Sky Strikers, all that stuff. They really need their spells. And IQ is kind of my other spicy tech in here. A lot of people don't play this card, or they'll side it, but I'm just straight up maining it because I feel like this hits so many rogue decks. Like, it's a little bit niche, but not really, considering every deck goes into Access Code to kill you, or Boral Sword to kill you, or plays Nightmares. Every deck is going to Link Summon for the most part. There's obviously some exceptions, but this hits Salad so hard. It hits Prank Kids. I won a couple matches against Mech Knight with this. Card is insane. Window for Link monsters. Don't sleep on IQ. So that is the main deck, 40 cards. We're big sticklers about 40 cards here on this channel. You won't see any normally any decks that go over that. Maybe you will in the future. Who knows? And then the side deck. Well, let's do the extra deck first, actually. Extra deck first. So, extra deck first, I'm doing for the Synchros, 2 Quantum Dragon. That's a little bit of spice because I've found an end board where you can make double Quantum Dragon plus towers at 3k, and that makes it a lock. So it's like the Avermax plus Quantum lock, where you can't target or attack any monsters on the field. So you can't swing over my towers, you can't swing into these. It's just a really crazy board to end on, and usually people scoop as soon as I do that. And then Wind Pegasus is like a Harpy's Feather Duster when he's on the field, and then when you put him in the graveyard, he can banish himself to shuffle back a card your opponent controls. It's really cool. Sometimes I like to end on this too. I like to have the option to end on either one based on, like, versus certain decks, I'd probably end on this one if I know that they can swing over my towers really easily, because then I can kill their Access Code or Boral Sword or whatever, and then they have no cards. But some decks lose harder to this, so I just like having the option of those. And then Light Dragon for the only Xyz. This is mostly there to search for the light monster, because you're going to want that light one rather than the red one in the grind game, because the light one searches for a monster reborn and just it's better. And this card does come up so sometimes. It destroys monsters as non-targeting removal, which can be really nice. Out something like a Megaclops or something. It has another effect too that doesn't come up as much. Oh, and it's like a Dingir suit too. Then Towers, obviously the best card in the deck, pretty much. I like to make it at 4K and just sit on it, or put the 2 Quantums and make it at 3K. And man, this card is just wonderful. Cleefort Towers, you know, is one of the best boss monsters of all time, and I think that with Cleese being my favorite deck, it was just natural that I end up playing this in 2021. I'd still play Cleese though if they gave it a little bit of support. Hell, I'll play it anyway. And then Access Code, which I'm borrowing from a friend and I have to return. Card's really good. I feel like I could probably still play without it. I don't want to, but I'm not about to pay for that card either. Transcode, necessary part of the combo. Helps you go into Access Code, but you just need it for your combos. Then Dark Templar, that's the Monster Reborn for 3. It's just a great card. It's a big choke point too. So, Fire Phoenix, playing this instead of Power Code Talker, because you can kind of do some funny stuff with this. Burn your opponent. It comes back if it's destroyed. You can use it to pop cards if you pop it with the red one in the grave. I think it's a lot better to just sit on this than Power Code. But when Heat Soul comes out, I will replace it with Heat Soul, because Heat Soul is just the best option for right there. It draws a card on both people's turns. It's crazy. One Splash Mage. I feel like if you manage your resources correctly, you probably don't need a second one, although I would understand it if you have the space. Cyberse Wicked. I think it's part of the combo. It's really nice. I think you have to run it. Gets your wind one. And then we play Link Spider for Nibiru. It does come up. If your opponent nibs you, sometimes you can extend further. Sometimes. Link Spider helps with that. And then Linguriboh. This is one of the best cards in the deck, dude. It really is. Versus back row decks, this card's so unfair. The fact that it negates and banishes. Like, over the past few weeks, I've hit 2 Schisms, which won me the game both times, because they don't get to add it back either. I've hit Revolts with this. I've hit Eldritch Traps, which is really crazy because they go -2 off of this. This card's just amazing. Don't ever cut this card, please. I've hit Evenlies with it when they try to evenly. Linguriboh is nutty, man. Don't ever cut that card. And then last in the extra deck is 2 Dark Infant. 3 wouldn't be terrible, but it's just a space issue. I think 2 is probably fine. And then onto the side deck. So, first we have 1 Driver, 3 Gamma. I side this a lot of the times for going second in a lot of my decks. It just feels really unfair when you open with this and your opponent starts comboing off, especially if you have another hand trap. It's just, a Driver likes to show up in my hand whenever Gamma's there, but even then you still get a free Solemn Strike on your opponent's turn, so I really like this card. And then we have a back row hate package, which is 1 Reboot and 1 Feather Duster and the 3 Twin Twisters. I like to be able to pop 2 back row rather than just 1. Although I may try Cosmic in the future, but it's just value because you can get rid of the Imperial Order and the Solemn Strike, and now you can play. Reboot is really sacky, and it comes up a lot. Whenever I draw this, it wins me the game. It's quite hilarious versus Altergeist and shit like that. And then we got, for going second, some more power with Dark Ruler No More. This is another card where you just have it, you feel like you got the golden ticket in your hand when you draw this against certain decks. It turns off their monsters, they can't respond to it, and goodbye. And then the last card in the side deck is my Spice for hand traps, Drag Down to the Grave. This card was absolutely broken, and it won me more matches than I could count. I ripped a Lava Golem out of someone's hand, I ripped an Imperm, I ripped a Bell, I ripped a Droll. Like, this card's been actually nuts. I think you need something like this. I'm not buying Tactics since it's too expensive, so I play this instead. And I think in some ways this is a little bit better. At least going first it is. This card was absolutely fucking broken. So, that is the deck profile. I guess I'd like to just shout out everyone at the locals in Michigan. Check out our channel. We're going to start posting stun decks, control decks, rogue decks, Mystic Mind decks, you know, we're just kind of the bad guys of Yu-Gi-Oh here. So if you like decks like that and you like to play rogue janky shit, check out Mystic Mind Shrine on YouTube. Peace out.